At 4:11 GMT on the 17th of March 2394, the Vishari strike fleet materialized exactly where their decade of optimization had placed them, exactly where they would die. Admiral Kale Vex watched the status board, every ship reporting green.
30 years of planning, a decade of optimization, and now we begin.
The 200-ship strike force ignited drives in perfect synchronization, 72 million kilometers away. A single Terran observation cruiser drifted, its lone observer unconcerned.
Bright side control. This is Watchpoint Alpha. Fleet has begun attack burn. They are exactly on the predicted vector.
The Vishari formation swept forward, engines blazing a red path through the void.
They believe their fleet gap leaves Earth defenseless. In 2 hours, this world burns.
The reply from Earth was immediate, acknowledged. Watchpoint Alpha, maintain observation. Do not engage. The trap was set. The Vishari were hurtling toward a doom none of them had imagined, and Earth was waiting in the bright side control room. Dr. Alara Vasquez studied the Sunday's Corona in real time.
The magnetic signatures are tightening exactly as predicted. This window is holding.
Commander Marcus Thorne entered, a transparent tablet in hand.
Ilara, the fleet rotation gap leak has been confirmed compromised. Strategic Command wants your latest assessment.
Compromised as intended. The Vishari bit the bait. The CME window opens in less than 2 hours.
They believe they're hitting a gap. In reality, they're flying into the barrel.
She pulled up a holographic overlay, the Vishari vector intersecting the predicted plasma arc.
Brightside has been tracking this cycle for 30 years. The fleet will be exactly where Sol decides to fire.
Then Earth is ready. Maintain the civilian advisory facade. No direct acknowledgement.
The countdown had begun. The Sunday was about to become the most devastating weapon in the system, and only they knew. On the Vishari flagship, Admiral Vex opened a channel to the Hegemony's intelligence minister, the architect of their stolen advantage.
Admiral, the Terran fleet rotation data you requested. It's flawless.
Flawless enough to burn their world.
She transmitted a holographic projection, the entire Terran defensive schedule, with a highlighted gap at 4:11 GMT.
Our operatives intercepted it 6 months ago. The window is real. The humans will have minimal coverage.
My attack vector exploits this gap perfectly. By the time they scramble reinforcements, Earth will be ash.
The Vishari plan was a masterpiece of hubris, 30 years of espionage distilled into a single, fatal approach.
The Hegemony expects victory. Admiral, do not disappoint us.
I have never failed the Hegemony. This will be my greatest triumph.
He cut the channel and stared at the vector on his display, a perfect line to Earth. They were unstoppable. Back in the bright side control room, Alara expanded the holographic Sunday until the magnetic loops filled the space.
This is not random. It's a 2-century return cycle. Sol has been building this loop since before our grandparents were born.
And the Vishari? They just happen to be in the kill zone.
They happen to be exactly where we invited them. The leaked gap was the bait. This vector is the hook.
Marcus nodded and opened a secure channel to the observation cruiser.
Watchpoint Alpha. Confirm final alignment. Is the fleet on the predicted CME bearing?
Affirmative. Control. They are locked on the vector. Distance to optimal CME intersection. 1 hour 42 minutes.
Stand by. Do not alter position. Record everything.
Understood. Watchpoint Alpha. Maintaining silent observation. Out.
The cruiser drifted in its silent orbit, a mute witness to the closing jaws of a trap set decades before. The Vishari fleet poured on the acceleration, cutting through the heliosphere like a blade.
All ships maintain attack formation. Maximum burn. Let nothing slow us.
A junior sensor officer flagged a magnetic anomaly, a spike in the solar wind density.
Solar weather. This star is noisy. It means nothing to us.
Admiral, the Korvox hive ignored a star. They no longer exist. Proceed with caution.
The Korvox were insects. We are the Vishari hegemony. I will not taint victory with cowardice.
Caution is not cowardice. I recommend re-rowing to a less exposed vector.
Denied. The window is now. We hold course.
Vex muted the intelligence channel and ordered all non-essential systems silenced. Unheard and unheeded, the Sunday's Corona coiled tighter, a spring drawing back for the strike, aboard the observation cruiser. Lieutenant Rourke checked his tablet. The countdown to CME intersection was now 58 minutes.
Bright side control, Watchpoint Alpha. Fleet alignment on predicted CME vector is exact. Distance to intersection, 58 minutes.
He studied the tactical overlay, a red dashed line marking the plasma arc's path, converging on the blue fleet icon.
Control. Recommend you verify. Fleet is in the barrel.
Confirmed, Watchpoint. The CME window opens at your mark. Maintain passive observation only.
The cruiser's passive sensors drank in every emission from the advancing fleet. Engines, comms, targeting lasers.
Their EM signature is spiking. They're going to full combat power. They still have no idea.
On his tablet, the countdown hit 47 minutes. The Sunday's magnetic loop was now visible on optical cameras.
47 minutes until the window opens. Then 72 seconds until the fleet is vapor.
The trap was locked. The Vishari had sailed into the one place in the system where Sol itself would execute them. The Vishari communications officer stiffened. A Terran civilian broadcast was bleeding through the jamming.
A space weather advisory from Earth's stargazers. Mute it.
The message repeated. Elevated solar activity in Sector 7 Gamma. All civilian vessels advised to avoid region.
Admiral, that sector aligns with our approach vector. The anomaly earlier.
The humans have been broadcasting solar warnings for weeks. Psychological warfare. It means nothing.
I am cross-referencing. Their predictive model has a 94% accuracy rate over the past century.
You sound like a frightened academic. Silence your analysis. I will not have my fleet paralyzed by weather reports.
Vex cut the channel and ordered a blanket comms damping. No more human transmissions would penetrate. Cora watched the advisory flicker out on her screen. A pattern gnawed at her, a coincidence too perfect to ignore. The Vishari fleet plunged deeper into the sector marked 7 Gamma, their comms silent, their sensors blind to the closing jaws. In the bright side control room, the holographic Corona pulsed with iridescent cyan. The magnetic loops were about to snap.
The loops are intersecting. The eruption window is now down to minutes. We're past any point of recall.
Marcus opened a channel to the observation cruiser. The fleet's tight formation visible on the tactical screen.
Watchpoint Alpha. The CME window opens in under 3 minutes. Confirm safe distance and start continuous recording.
Watchpoint Alpha confirms safe distance. All passive sensors active. Ready for impact observation.
On the satellite solar feed, a magnetic filament snapped. A rope of plasma lifting off the corona like a living thing.
Detection. Coronal mass ejection in progress. Vector matches prediction exactly. Impact in 72 seconds.
The cruiser's countdown reset to the final impact timer. 72 seconds until the plasma wavefront consumed the fleet.
All stations. Confirm safe distance. CME is in flight. This is not a drill.
The Sunday had fired. The fleet now raced a wall of charged death moving at 2 million kilometers per hour, and they did not know it. The flagship's sensor matrix began to glitch, long-range scans dissolving into static.
Report. Why are my tactical overlays flickering?
A junior officer called out. A magnetic pressure front, moving at impossible speed.
Solar wind. It always spikes before a star dims. Hold formation.
Across the fleet, comms channels crackled with phantom noise. the sound of charged particles slamming into hulls.
Admiral, that is not ordinary solar wind. The energy profile matches a coronal mass.
I told you to silence your analysis. We are committed. Assume attack posture.
The interference intensified, targeting computers through false echoes, as if space itself were burning.
Override the filters. Manual gunnery. We will not be delayed by this star's tantrum.
The fleet plunged on, blind to the wavefront, only seconds out. A wall of plasma bearing down without sound. Aboard the observation cruiser, Rourke watched the countdown drop below 30 seconds.
Bright side control. Watchpoint Alpha. Fleet is in the barrel. Impact in 30 seconds.
The reply from Marcus came instantly. Acknowledged. All Terran assets. Clear the zone. Brace for CME intersection. The tactical overlay on his tablet showed the fleet's blue icons sliding toward the red curved line.
No escape. No warnings left.
The countdown hit 15 seconds. The Sunday's glare intensified, casting the cruiser's hull in harsh gold.
Control. Confirm no human or allied assets in the corridor.
Confirmed clear. The path is hot. Report impact. The timer reached 10 seconds on the tactical screen. The Vishari fleet's blue avatars slid inexorably toward the curved red line of the CME path. In 10 seconds, Sol would deliver a verdict 3 decades in the making. The countdown hit 0. The CME wavefront, a wall of plasma 10,000 degrees Celsius, slammed into the lead ships. Hulls vaporized before shields could register the strike. The first rank simply ceased to exist.
What is happening? Report.
Admiral, sensors detect a coronal mass ejection. Our hull temperatures are beyond tolerance. We are...
The plasma arc, a scythe of stellar fury, curled over the formation, cyan-white discharges flickering within its orange heart.
Impact confirmed. Vector perfect. Fleet center mass. They're inside the arc.
In the bright side control room, the holographic Sunday flickered with the energy release of 1 billion warheads.
Watchpoint Alpha confirms impact. The fleet is dissolving into the plasma. No escape.
On the Vishari flagship, screens turned white, then black. Emergency klaxons died as power failed.
All ships, evade, break formation, abandon the approach. We flew straight into... No.
The plasma wave swallowed the second rank. Ships evaporated into incandescent mist. No wreckage, only light.
This is not a storm. This is precision. A natural disaster does not strike center mass.
The advisory. Sector 7 Gamma. It was not a warning of danger. It was a firing solution.
The rearmost ships broke formation, engines flaring. The plasma overtook them before they could turn.
The vector, the gap window, the solar cycle. It was bait. All of it. They knew. They knew exactly where we would be. The gap. It was never a gap.
137 ships were gone. The plasma continued its sweep, indifferent.
The intelligence, I checked it 100 times. It passed every verification. It was flawless because they made it flawless.
The flagship's hull groaned. The view screen turned a uniform, blinding orange. Admiral Vex said nothing. There was nothing left to say. The plasma devoured the third rank. Ship after ship became a brief, silent flare. Nothing more.
Admiral, the core fleet is gone. Perhaps a dozen ships remain, and they are failing.
On the tactical display, the blue icons blinked out in clusters. The wedge had become a scattering of dying embers.
There is no evasion, no countermeasure. We are inside a star's wrath.
The flagship's shields shrieked, then collapsed. Hull temperature spiked 3,000 degrees in a breath.
How did we miss this? A solar weapon of this scale. They must have predicted it decades ago. The intelligence was planted.
The rearmost vessels tried to jump to slip space. The plasma's magnetic field tore their drives to slag.
The hegemony will never know what happened. because no one will survive to tell them.
The plasma was seconds from the flagship. Emergency systems died one by one. The bridge lights went to emergency red. There was no point in orders. The crew simply waited. Admiral Vex broke the silence, his voice raw. Communications broadcast to the hegemony. Priority warning.
Let them know. The approach vector was a trap. Do not enter Terran space.
No, scatter the remaining ships. Flee in all directions. Some might escape.
Scatter where? The plasma is faster than any drive. There is no escape, only a message.
The communications officer slammed a fist on the console. Admiral, the EMP has already burnt out long-range arrays. We're deaf and mute.
Then we die without purpose. 30 years, wasted because you refused to listen to a weather report.
She is right. I am the reason our fleet is ash.
The bridge console flickered, then died. The only light came from the plasma wall outside the viewport. There were no more orders to give. The Vishari hegemony's greatest armada had become a footnote in a solar weather advisory. In the observation logs, the timestamp would read 4 hours, 13 minutes, and 47 seconds GMT. The fleet was functionally destroyed. Vex keyed the internal channel to Cora's command nexus. Only static, and a ghost of her voice returned.
Cora, acknowledge. Can you hear me?
The data was too clean. They fed it to us. We were never the predators.
The view screen washed out entirely. The plasma's corona was now the only thing any of them could see.
The gap, the vector, they were always the bait. We were never the hunters.
Number. We were the bullet.
The flagship's hull sublimated. The bridge dissolved into light. At 4 hours, 13 minutes and 47 seconds GMT, the last Vishari signal died. The observation cruiser logged the cessation of all hostile emissions.
Watchpoint Alpha to Brightside Control. Fleet has ceased to exist. No survivors detected.
The solar arc continued its journey, passing Earth at a safe distance, exactly as the forecast had predicted, at 4 hours, 13 minutes, and 47 seconds GMT. The final Vishari transmission channel collapsed into static. The observation cruiser's passive sensors recorded the exact microsecond the fleet ceased to exist.
Brightside Control. Watchpoint Alpha confirms the Vishari fleet is destroyed. No active emissions, no survivors.
The CME flank washed over Earth's magnetosphere, painting the skies with auroras, harmless and beautiful.
47 seconds. That's all it took.
Rourke entered the final log entry. Fleet destroyed. Returning to standard orbit, the observation cruiser's passive sensors captured the last burst of hard radiation as the plasma arc dissipated into deep space, leaving nothing but molten slag. Earth continued its rotation, 9 billion people unaware that an entire armada had been annihilated without a single human weapon being fired.
Watchpoint Alpha. Confirm all Terran assets are green. No damage to satellite network.
Brightside Control responded. All systems nominal. Stand down. Well done, Lieutenant. The cruiser pivoted gently, turning toward its next patrol vector. The Sunday shone as it always had, quiet, patient, and lethally predictable. The Terran Space Weather Service issued its routine post-event advisory. Elevated solar activity in Sector 7 Gamma has subsided. No damage reported to the 9 billion people of Earth. The dazzling auroras were a momentary spectacle, nothing more. In a distant Vishari listening post, a junior analyst noticed an anomalous energy spike on the long-range sensors. The signature matched a coronal mass ejection of unprecedented scale, and it had originated directly on the approach vector of the strike fleet. Every attempt to hail the fleet failed. The silence was absolute. On Earth, the news cycle briefly mentioned spectacular auroras caused by an unusually strong solar flare. The Terran Space Weather Service then issued the same advisory it sends after every CME. Forecast remains nominal for the coming month. No mention of the fleet, no mention of the trap. Just a weather forecast. In the hegemony, the silence deepened. Somewhere, someone began to suspect the terrible truth. The gulf between the two worlds had never been wider, and Earth's silence was the most deafening statement of all. 3 decades earlier, in a sealed Terran Strategic Command briefing, Commander Marcus Thorne proposed a plan that would rewrite interstellar defense.
We cannot match their fleet strength, but Brightside gives us a 25-year forecast. We know when Sol will erupt.
If we leak a false fleet gap, the Vishari will optimize their approach vector right into the CME kill box.
Sol becomes the weapon. No human ship fires a shot. The Vishari destroy themselves on their own meticulous planning.
In the hegemony's central intelligence vault, Minister Cora refused to accept the silence. She combed through the fleet's final telemetry fragments.
The gap was a fabrication. The vector was a target. We were never the hunters. The Terran fleet rotation data was a plant. They fed us the gap, and we walked our entire fleet into a solar execution.
The council chamber fell into a silence heavier than any defeat they had ever known.
The humans did not fight us. They aimed us, and Sol pulled the trigger. The attack was not survived. It was aimed.
The hegemony that had conquered a dozen species had been undone, not by warships, but by the star they thought they understood. The hegemony issued no declaration. There was no surrender, because there was no enemy to accept it. The council chambers remained sealed. The official record of the strike fleet was marked, lost to stellar anomaly. On Earth, the Terran Space Weather Service logged the event as significant solar event 2394-3 in an internal database. No human official mentioned the fleet. No press release acknowledged an attack. Rumors, however, could not be sealed. Reports of a vanished Vishari armada spread through the Galactic Council's informal channels.
We will not speak of this. Cora ordered before the remaining ministers. Let the silence be our strategy.
Earth's silence was a weapon in itself. Any protest would have required an admission of guilt. The galaxy watched, uneasy. The little blue planet in Sector 7 Gamma had just destroyed a superpower without lifting a finger. Lieutenant Rourke's log for that day ended with a single line. All quiet. The universe had learned a new fear, not of humanity's weapons, but of its patience. A year later, a sleek Galactic Council diplomatic vessel glided into Earth orbit and requested clearance to the Terran Space Weather Service.
We are here to understand the Brightside program. The Council seeks clarification on your solar prediction capabilities.
Brightside is a civilian forecasting service. We monitor the Sunday and issue public advisories to mitigate space weather risks.
She said it with the practiced calm of someone who had given this explanation 1,000 times.
And yet, an entire Vishari fleet was lost to a coronal mass ejection that your organization predicted with remarkable accuracy.
Solar activity can be hazardous. We always advise ships to avoid Sector 7 Gamma during such events. The advisory was public.
She placed a glossy brochure on the table, Understanding Our Sunday.
The Council remains uneasy. Is there more you can share?
Our research is ongoing. Non-civilian requests are subject to review. Reviews take time. Please, take the brochure.
The delegation left with a stack of brochures and the unshakable understanding that humanity was not to be tested. Months after the Galactic Council delegation departed, aboard the observation cruiser, Lieutenant Rourke received a routine data packet from Brightside Control. The message, composed by Dr. Vasquez, was clinical. New CME window predicted for the 17th of March, 2399. Vector sector 7 Gamma. Intensity and duration match historical averages. Public advisory to be issued at standard interval.
5 years. Another chance for Sol to remind the galaxy. Brightside. Watchpoint Alpha confirms receipt of CME forecast.
Will maintain passive monitoring. He closed the message and looked out at the star that had incinerated an armada without a single human order. The Sunday's surface was calm, but deep within. Magnetic fields were already coiling for the next strike. Earth continued its orbit. 9 billion people unaware of the watchful eye that guarded them. Rourke updated the cruiser's log. Next CME forecast, 2399. Vigilance maintained. Sol would wait. It had been waiting for 4 billion years, and it would wait 4 billion more. The observation cruiser finished its sweep and began the slow drift back to its patrol route. Behind it, the last traces of the coronal mass ejection faded into the void. Nothing but a smear of light in the sensor logs. Earth turned, blue and tranquil, its 9 billion souls unaware that the star they took for granted had just ended a fleet. In Brightside's archives, the event became a quiet statistic. Significant solar event 2394 to 3. No collateral damage, no medals, no parades, just another entry in the log. The galaxy, however, would not forget. The little blue planet in Sector 7 Gamma had spoken without a word. Any fleet that approached now would do so with the terrible knowledge that Sol could become a scythe at any moment. Commander Thorne once summarized the Brightside doctrine in a single line. Forewarned is forearmed. The Terran Space Weather Service continues its work, watching the Sunday for the next inevitable outburst. And somewhere in the void, a single observation cruiser drifts, silent, patient, ready.